So you need to know about the marks and signs of concentration, so you will not be confused that when you are sleepy or drowsy, or when you think you're not disturbed, you think you have samadhi, you think you are peaceful, you think you are calm. And it could just be laziness of mind. When you're blurred, you think that you're peaceful. Now it is not so. The concentrated mind is very clear, very bright, and able to perceive the object very clearly. And it is not lack of energy. It is a lot of energy. It is very strong. So that's the sign and mark of a concentrated mind. But when you feel the lack of energy, you feel that a sense of ease and calm. But if your mind is not clear, it is not concentration. So these are the marks that is necessary for you to gauge, to compare whether you are gaining real concentration or are you just sleepy and dull and you can't get your mind, and your mind, even the thinking slows down because you're lazy, no energy. So you can't see the mind. So you should not be confused between what is concentrated mind, because they are important. If you are confused, you can't really able to perceive or differentiate between both of them. Then you will be probably trapped in your thinking that you are peaceful when you are not. So next we have the unconfined mind. What do you mean by unconfined? In a sense that a concentrated mind is unlimited, is spatial, is transcendental. It is not confined, it is not narrow-minded. It is the practice of metta, loving kindness, for example, is transcending, goes beyond human, goes to the unseen beings, it goes to devas, and covers even animals or even insects. But it is hard to have metta towards these insects, but you would probably try to human first. But if you have metta towards even the unseen beings, you would not fear them. Because absence of metta, caring and loving kindness, then we have ill will. You fear them, you fear the unseen beings. If you give them a lot of kindness, you will not fear them. If you treat them like a friend, you will not fear them. So it is unconfined. We spread out to the 8 directions, north, south, east, west, and earth below. So it is a fantastic mind. Mind once it's concentrated. And when you talk about the metta, first we use the words. Metta, they are concept of meditation. Me, you, they, loved ones, enemies. And once you develop that concentration, and when the metta feelings become strong, then these metta feelings, even though it is directed to objects, it is no longer specific objects, just covering all beings, including yourself. But we have to start with individual to harness your concentration, to develop your loving kindness towards one particular object, which is very essential in our daily life. When you see our loved ones, the metta kindness arises because we practice that. We develop the caring. It's your colleagues, it's your friends, and the metta arises. So when metta becomes a defense, you don't get angry easily, you don't get hurt easily because the loving kindness becomes your defense. And you can listen carefully. If they are not kind to you, if they talk roughly, you could still have a defense, and the loving kindness becomes a defense, and you don't get angry easily, don't get disturbed easily, because it is built up, developed in your mind. And when metta becomes very strong, it no longer goes individually, it no longer notes a particular person or beings. It is just that feeling that keeps on arising, and the objects are all beings. So you can't figure out particularly which is the being. Is it me? Is it my loved one? Is it devas or petas or brahmas or animals? You can't figure it out. It is just being, and loving kindness just keeps flowing. So it is unlimited. It is not just centered on one particular person or object. And it gets the absorption. It's the mind, and the constant flowing of loving kindness, and the whole world, universe, in the being is your objects. And that's how when the mind just stays there, this object, it is called, known as absorption. Absorption, jhana mind. It needs a lot of practice to develop it so great and so high. And it's a lot of joy. Practice of loving kindness has a lot of joy because it is a caring, it is love. So caring and love attracts joy. So metta has a lot of joy, which is essential for enlightenment, because joy is one of the 7 factors of enlightenment. So joy is important, it is essential, just as concentration is essential, joy is essential. So meditation, so Buddhist teaching does not mean the Buddha always talk about equanimity. No. Buddha also talked about joy as essential for realization. Mind joyful and equanimity, balance of mind, they're essential for enlightenment. Concentrated mind is one centered mind. Centered means he puts his mind into the object and he stays there and just stuck to the object. He does not run about, he does not go all over the way, all over the place. And if you got a lot of restless mind, you know that mind is not concentrated. But in our meditation, we have these 4 objects. As long as you stay on these 4 objects, and the mindful is continuously staying on these 4 objects, then concentration arises. Whereas in the practice of pure concentration, samatha meditation, mind stays on one object. But here, in our mindfulness meditation, we have 4 objects. Watch mind, watch feeling, watch body, watch Dhamma. As long as the mindfulness is constantly staying on this 4 objects, then ekakata develops, concentration develops. Concentration develops, so samadhi manifests, calmness and peacefulness manifest. So it is one's concentrated mind does not run about, but it is alright if it runs about. Just bring it back. Just bring it back. Do not force the mind to stay there in the object if it does not want to stay. If you force the mind, if you force concentration, force your mind to concentrate, then you're going to have a lot of problems. You might get stuck. You get a lot of jam. The mic gets jammed. You cannot see the object. It just jam up. And probably some of the meditators say that they see darkness, total darkness. The mic gets jammed up. Can't see anything, just total darkness. So do not crave, do not force your mind to stay on one object. It should be just mindfulness. Whatever object arises that is strong or predominant, that becomes your object. And build up your mindfulness continuously, object to object, and it develops concentration, and the concentration develops. A concentrated mind has confidence, saddha, confidence. You must understand what is this concentration. Otherwise, you get into something that is wrong, something that is not right, not sama samadhi, not right concentration. You get into micca samadhi, wrong concentration, and you're going to have problems. So these are marking and signs of concentration that you should know. If you do not know, you get into problem. And a lot of times they don't have teacher to teach them. They just do it themselves. Read from books. And they hear talks a little bit here and there. And they do it themselves. And they don't have proper guidance. And they get deeper and deeper and deeper. And they get into wrong concentration. And yet they do not know they're in wrong concentration. They still keep on going. That's how they become crazy. So I met a few of them who came to see me and asked me this question. Is that absorption? They feel themselves being pulled into darkness. I say, no. That's not right concentration. That is wrong concentration. Don't get yourself pulled into the darkness. That is not absorption. You go crazy. That is moha state. Ignorance mind. And just stay there. Everything don't know. And just stay there in that darkness. And everything you don't know, you can't see. That is wrong concentration. Right concentration is different. It has wisdom. Even in absorption, it has wisdom. And we say, what is this wisdom that you get in the absorption meditation? What is this wisdom? Yes, this wisdom, knowing that you are getting into absorption. Wisdom knowing you are in absorption. Wisdom knowing when you are coming out of the absorption. Wisdom know, again, if I want to get into absorption, this is the way to absorption. But they don't have the wisdom of the three characteristics. You don't have the wisdom of the mindfulness meditation when you see the impermanence arising and disappearing. You don't have this type of wisdom, but they have the wisdom of the absorption. So it could not be darkness. Mind could not just get sink into darkness. No, there is wrong concentration, micca samadhi. Has the wisdom. It knows. Mind is very clear. It knows that the mind and the objects will be like getting into one. Objects and mind is like one. And the mind just staying into the object. And what appears? Appears the 5 factors of concentration. Vitakka, vicara, piti, sukha, ekakata. Initial application of mind sustain, joy, happiness, and mind just one-pointedness, just staying there, not moving with the object. You get a lot of joy and happiness. The nearer you get to absorption, you experience so much joy and happiness, and you could really know when the mind and objects meet much together. No, you know, because that is wisdom. Concentration has wisdom. Just as the way our wisdom is different, our way is different. Our way is different from the absorption wisdom. Why is it different? Because we know as we practice our mindfulness meditation, as our mindfulness develops, then our clarity of mind arises. Then we have Sampadetha, Sati Sampadetha, mindfulness and clarity of mind, clear comprehension. And you could see the object so clearly, and you know, and this is mind, this is object, mind knowing object. So there is, you know very clearly, even before you get into insight, you know very clearly this process of mindfulness and efforts being built up. and becomes more and more clear. So you know, but it's a different knowing. Even if you get into the tranquility meditation, it's a different type of knowing. That it is not absorbed into darkness. No, that is wrong. Nijja samadhi, wrong concentration, where people become crazy if we don't have a proper teacher and they practice tranquility meditation. But if you practice mindfulness meditation and you learn to watch your mind, learn to understand your mind, you learn to know the characteristics, the marking of the mind, then you would not be confused and experience these things in your meditation. You can differentiate between what is right and what is wrong, what is the real concentration, what is not concentration. Just a lot of perception, a lot of hallucination, a lot of desire connected to the attainment of concentration or jhana. You know the difference. So watch the mind. So these are very important subjects. I've been giving a lot of talks on this concentration, this samadhi, because you need to understand clearly what concentration is, because this is your direction, this is your way of practice, and this is what you're supposed. Every one of us have to go through this samadhi, to go through this ease and calmness and concentrated mind before we get into realization. Every one of us have to walk this path. Just as the samatha meditation, absorption meditation, they have to go through this path, this concentration mind, and they must really understand them so that they will not deviate from their practice, go the wrong way. Anything is still the right way. And one meditator get absorbed into this blackness for a long time. See, you can stay there for a long time. See, you can stay there for hours. And then I say, when you come out of it, what do you get? He comes out of it. He comes out of it. He just gets some very peaceful, very calm, and he comes out of it. Then I ask him, do you have joy? Yes, he got joy. It's not strong joy. It's just like, okay. It's just like you feel refreshed. I said, no, that's not the real thing. You know, get into that darkness. No, that's not the real thing. Absorption is not darkness, it's very bright. Mind's very bright. Mind's very clear. Mind has a lot of happiness and joy. But that's not the right thing. So, confidence means that there's no doubt as you able to develop the strong concentration, doubt disappear, that you know that meditation is fantastic. Nothing could compare with this meditation, not this enjoyment of the senses. They could never compare with this concentration that you have developed because of the immense benefit of a concentrated mind, of a strong mind. It is such great benefits. That's where the confidence starts to develop, that this is it, this is it. This is what life is for. This is to develop concentration, makes the mind strong. So he has a lot of confidence. When he gets deep into concentration, that develops a lot of confidence. And the mind is very strong, it has no fear, it's peaceful. Because that's the characteristics of a concentrated mind. It has no doubt, because he knows how far he has gone in. There's no doubt that this is the way of the practice. So he has no doubts about it. And he has strong energy, of course. If you don't have strong energy, there would be no concentration, mental energy. So the effort to keep on practicing builds up the mental strength, mental energy. If you don't have energy, there will be no concentration. So therefore, when the concentration becomes strong, and there's a lot of energy, it is not sleepiness. Remember that. You don't feel very peaceful, very calm, but no energy. And 5 cents drop on the floor, you jump up. I say, wow, when I get to samadhi, Brother James, wow, little sound only, I jump up. I should call this samadhi. Samadhi thunder also you won't jump out. Huh? So we call that samadhi. You call it sleepiness lah. No more energy. Sleep half awake in the dreamy world, dreamy stage. You better test yourself. I think in samadhi, take 5 cents, so what? Let it fall down. See whether you jump up off your seat or not. They know that it's not samadhi. Samadhi got a very strong energy. And it's very alert, very strong. Will not be disturbed by sound. It has strong energy. Remember that. Having mindfulness, of course. Without mindfulness, there will be no concentration. Will not have developed. So even in samatha meditation, don't say they don't have mindfulness. They also have mindfulness, and they also develop mindfulness to a very strong degree. Otherwise, their concentration would not be strong to get absorption. Because mindfulness brings up the objects, constantly bringing up the objects to the mind, so that the mind can stay there with the objects. Mindfulness is not there. There will be no concentration. Brings up the mind. Oh, my mind is dreaming. My mind is don't know where. But bring it back. Rising, falling. Mindfulness constantly bring up the mind to our meditation. Bring our mind, bring this object to our mind. And so therefore, when you constantly bring up to our mind and our other factors are developed, concentration factors are developed, initial application is developed. Means to say that the mind keep directing to these objects. Mindfulness bring it up, it direct it there. Sustain application is to say that the mind sustains this object. It does not run away from this object and comes up. It stays there. And there is this joy in this meditation. And you get a lot of buoyancy, feel light, feel very cooling your body, feel very happy, very peaceful, and the mind just stay on this object, just not move at all, just stuck to this object. Ekakanta, stay there on this object, just not move, stuck on this object. And these are the factors. Concentration becomes strong. So having mindfulness, non-distraction. Once your concentration is not easily distracted, the mind is not easily distracted. If the mind is easily distracted, you know that your concentration is weak. It's not built up. It's weak. Easily distracted. And rising, falling, people talking also get distracted. A little bit of sun, you get distracted. A little bit of pain, you get distracted. A little bit of numbness, you get distracted. You want to move, you want to release it, you get distracted. When you feel heaviness, you get distracted. No, these are all your objects of meditation. If you feel hardness, if you feel the body becomes very hard, so what? Hardness is your meditation object. It is the element of earth element. Whatever it is your objects of meditation. Just not get distracted. Just put your mind, switch on your mind to the objects and stay there. So it's not distracted. So it's concentration, it's staying object. Not easily distracted. It just stays there. So it is knowledge. Just now what I was talking about. He knows. If you don't know, there's something wrong somewhere. You don't know. So do you know you're rising and falling? Are you aware? You don't know. Then you got feeling? No feeling. Can you watch your mind? Cannot watch your mind. Can you watch the Dhamma? No Dhamma. Then you don't know. So everything you don't know. So are you meditating? You are sleeping. Illuminated mind, we come to the last of the concentrated mind. Is an illuminated mind, means that the mind becomes very bright, very pure, very clear. Alright? And the mind is in absorption or near to absorption. It is very pure. Hindrances cannot arise in the mind. And even when you don't come to this excess concentration, so strong concentration, even if you go towards 60%, 70% of that excess concentration, not yet absorption, hindrances also weaken and very hard for it to arise. Become very peaceful. Your mind becomes very peaceful. You don't get disturbed. You don't have worries. You don't think a lot of this and that and distracted and a lot of fear and all this. No, the mind just becomes very peaceful. You just stay there. And it lasts for hours, sometimes lasts for days. But when you come to excess concentration, you think that you're a saint. You think that, oh yeah, I'm very pure, I have attained, because I don't see any greed in my mind. I don't see any hatred in my mind, any disturbances in my mind. But it is just the characteristics of mind strong, concentrated, and the hindrances cannot arise. But when it is weakened, when the mindfulness, when you let go of mindfulness, let go of the energy, then the concentration drops again. You can build it up, it can also drop. Yes, it can also drop again. If you don't maintain it, it will drop again. So when it drop again, then you build it up again. You build up. And when you sustain the concentration, then you see the yanas, the insight, one after another coming. You see this, you see that. Not with the eyes, but with the mind. Wisdom sees, perceives. The mind perceives things as they are, phenomena, various stages of this insight or wisdom development. It just wisdom just develop, just appear when you come to various stages of this perceiving of mind and body. You could perceive the various stages of insight when concentration is maintained, and if the concentration is not maintained, it is weak, then it falls away, and so is the yana, so is the wisdom. Insight wisdom also falls away. When concentration falls away, insight also falls away, because insight arises when concentration develops. Interdependent. So sometimes meditators get into insight, basic level, first level, second level, and then fall away. And then they struggle, try to cling on to the insight to arise again. I cannot rise again. Why? Because there is this craving. You've got to get rid of the craving. You've got to just build up your mindfulness continuously and develop that concentration. Then the insight comes back again. And by clinging to the insight, it will not come back again. Just like clinging to concentration, you won't get the concentration. It is only by the building up of mindfulness that you get that concentration. And get the concentration, then you get an insight again. And if it's not strong enough, then you won't go to deeper wisdom, insight. Then you have to do what? You have to come back again to the basic. What is the basic? The basic is building up mindfulness. That is always your basic. Remember that. Always your basic. Mindfulness. Even those who attain the first state of sainthood, they come back again. Again, why? Build up the mindfulness stronger again. Build up stronger concentration again to get into the second realization, the second sainthood. The first one is Makha, path, realization. The second one only path, because he's already gone through the path. He goes direct to realization, the second stage. And after that, what did he do? He has to come back again and build up mindfulness again, continuously. build up more stronger concentration before he can go to the third stage. Always remember that the basic is the mindfulness. You can't be steps of the mindfulness. You always to go back to the mindfulness. Watch your mind, watch your feeling, watch your body, watch the Dhamma. So this is the process of the Noble Eightfold Path. Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Sila, morality, to try to develop stronger precepts. Samadhi means you got to develop effort and mindfulness and concentration. Then there is Samadhi. Samadhi is there when the mind becomes very clear. Things are seen clearly. Then you have the Panya, realization, wisdom. So we have finished the Noble Eightfold Path. We have finished the Noble Eightfold Path, the last subject of Dhamma. And next year we go back again, another round.